Hi, friends. This is Caitlin. I am so excited to be back with you with Pink and Main. Tonight, we are going to be having some fun. I saw something online and was inspired. And so tonight, we are going to try out something I've never done before. Exactly, Dean. We are going to play with bubbles. So I do see a ton of people. I'm so sorry for jumping in late. I was trying to grab some names for our giveaway. And of course, I was using the wrong form. So at the end, I'll open it and we'll like real quick pick some numbers and I'll announce at the end and I will email. So we'll still pick three winners for today. We'll just have to be a little patient. I did not realize tonight was my kid's shower night until it was too late. So here we are. Yeah, so I saw someone doing kind of a similar technique to how we did our tea stains on our card from last Thursday. Let me grab that. I have it here. But we dipped a little cup into our ink and kind of used it to stamp and create our ring spots on this card. So they kind of did that, but then they added water to the center and created this really fun kind of rainbow iridescent bubble look. And I want to try it. And I want to see the difference when we do it with reinkers, right? The ink refills, and also with some of our watercolor gems and maybe even mixing them. So you guys know I'm up for playing around, experimenting, making some mistakes so that we can all learn together. There's no shame in my craft game. I'm going to grab another watercolor panel here really quick because I do want to be able to do one panel with reinker, one panel with powder or the watercolor gems, and one combined. And I did find while I was cleaning, here, let me switch this over. I did find my little swatch card from when we first got these that says what the colors are. So now I have my reference back. I love that. That's been living back in there. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I see so many people. Will do a real quick run through. I see Deanne's here, Virginia, Lisa, Judith's here, Michelle, my BFF Michelle, my car buddy, Mary. I know you told me last time too, create by hand. Tell me one more time your first name. I see Melissa checking in. Judith says it's beautiful in the Carolinas today. I bet Susan's here. Barb, Mary, Kathleen, Miss Judy B, Annette, Donna. I'm going to make a note. Create by hand, Donna. It should be easy to remember because Dawn also doesn't use her name in her thing. So Dawn and Donna. I'll get it because I wrote it down now. All right, so we have our all of our stuff here ready to go. I'm gonna say let's go ahead and stamp out one of our mermaids. We're probably only gonna finish one of these cards, even though we'll have three panels kind of prepped, just for time's sake. And so I want to use the mermaid we haven't used yet from this set. This is the Stay Sparkly. This was the stamp of the month for May, but it is now officially released and available as a part of the May release. Let's see which side is going to stay in here best. We're going to use up this scrap of Copic Express It. So we can kind of just place that a little bit diagonal. Hair got caught in there. How is everybody's week going so far? I know the weather's got nicer, but I also know some storms have been rolling through. Oh, my face is better. Okay. Everybody doing okay? Tana said, I go by anything. I promise I will try. Let's see, Sharon's checking in from Colorado, Joyce from Florida. Love that. Okay, we'll just knock everything over. Perfect. So we got our mermaid stamped out with our asphalt ink. And oh my gosh, I finally did laundry from the Create. Simon Says Create. And now I have all of these beautiful, clean, pink and main scrubbies. So excited for that. Which really means that these two super grubby ones need to go. Like, look at that. Wash next. My craft desk is right next to the bathroom / laundry room. So, in the hallway I'm in. Melissa said they had their first long weekend up there. Oh, so her week's going great. She was off Monday. We're off this coming Monday. So that'll be nice. So we're going to let our little mermaid dry on the side. Let's get us zoomed in a little bit better. That and maybe, a little squared up. Trying to do this like reversed always throws me off. Oregon's weather was great today. That's good. Kathleen said SoCal's great all the time. That's like cheating. A lot of flooding in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. That's not sound good. You know what I didn't think about was that this is going to be really big for the bubbles. Oh, you know what we can use? I mean, we can play with a couple different sizes, but we're going to use the lid from our anti-static or magic anti-static brush. What else can we use? Just looking around to see what other round things are near me. I don't want it too small because then the colors won't have room to move. And I don't want it to be huge, right? That's a pretty big size difference. I'm also worried about getting these wet, the lids of the, I have it here. All right, well, let's start with that. That's a good place to start. And then we'll see what happens from there. All right, so I have just like an acrylic palette. So we'll start with that. And I think we're gonna start with our re-inkers first. So I grabbed Dress Shop and I grabbed Night Sky, which is our purple. Ooh, embossing powder lids, yeah, maybe. I'm just nervous to get those wet too. And I know that I can dry them off, and then let's do some Barbershop. So we have pink, purple, and blue. And I'm gonna go in with a distress sprayer and just kind of starting to get these moving around a little. Caitlin, the screen is blurry. Oh, it's because there's too much white. There we go. Once that should be better. Once it sees that there's a hand to focus on, it'll clear up. I'll try to remember to keep a hand there for it to focus. When it's just the sea of white, it goes crazy. So if it doesn't get better in a second for you guys, let me know because there's a little bit of a delay. So I'm just dipping this down into my paint and I'm putting this on dry watercolor paper. So we're starting off like that with our purple, pink, and blue. And this might be a little intense once we get going, but we can always shift. And I have my pink and main water brushes. So let's see what happens if we add some water to the inside. So I think they had maybe a little more of a diluted colors. So I'm trying to be a little slower, and maybe we can blot. What if we blot it up a little bit? You guys let me know. Did that clear up the blurriness? Oh, that looks pretty cool. So we did go out of the lines a little bit, which I don't love because I feel like for the bubble effect, it needs to be very round. Okay, good. I cleared it up. But what we might be able to do is kind of edit a little. Maybe, maybe not. I'm just running some water over the edges where it kind of blurred out. It's not perfect, but I do think that looks so cool. That is definitely a really fun effect. And I kind of like that it's a little like splotchy. Hey, Sherry, we just started. So you are still at the, you picked a good time. So just how like sometimes we tap off our ink, I'm going to like dip this in and then tap it onto my palette and then press it down because I'm thinking maybe that will help make sure that we don't have too much ink going on. And when I'm crossing over, like I made it into the blue, so I cleaned off my brush before I went back into the pink because otherwise we're going to drag that blue everywhere. And then I'm dropping some of this down in the center. And just kind of swirling my brush. Your ink is only going to go where there's water. So the trick with that, see, that looks so pretty just by itself. Let me get a paper towel because I think that's the other problem is when I blotted with the towel that it was too much and it pushed it out. So if I just kind of take the tip of a paper towel in there, that should let me kind of blot up some extra liquid without affecting our shape as much. Yeah, exactly, Virginia. Tapping off that lid made it so it wasn't so intense. Oh, I like that. That looks so pretty. We are losing a little bit of the pink as these are mixing together on the palette. And the other interesting thing I want to try next is what happens if we put a big one over all three. What kind of weird mixing are we going to get then? Yeah, tapping back into that pink was a good idea. So I don't know if it's the way to do it, but I really like how this is working, kind of adding water around the ring and then going back in with more clean water in the middle and kind of big circles until it catches and then letting it kind of do its thing from there. And it'll kind of like wick and flow however it wants. See if you guys can see how it's kind of like shifting around. It's so pretty. And you could totally just let this dry without blotting it too. But I kind of like when the center is a little more clear, a little bit lighter. Oh, I think we're hitting our stride now, right? That one's like meh. That one's pretty good. And that one to me is like, that one's pretty perfect. Oh, I like that. All right, now we're either gonna, this is gonna be great, or I'm gonna completely make a mess here. But I want to try going in with a bigger circle. Mm, this whole thing is blue now, though. Let's see. Just what if I brushed a little bit on? What would happen then? Brush on some pink. We brush on some purple. And then we brush on some blue. Instead of dipping, who knows? Again, could be really fun, could be catastrophe. There's only one way to find out. If anything, I'm worried these are gonna like start to dry down or something. Interesting. So it's definitely wicking and pulling into the other ones. So in theory, if you're gonna do that, it would be better to let them dry first, which definitely makes sense. Right? Because like this one that we did first really isn't pulling that color at all. It was already drying down. This is so pretty though. I really like this effect of being able to see those other bubbles through, giving it that really like fun, transparent kind of look though. Sorry, I feel like that's a weird noise. I'm kind of avoiding these bubbles, the inside parts, because I want them to keep their edge a little bit. Oh, that's fun. I don't think that's bubble anatomically correct bubbles, but they're really fun. These are so cool, right? Sherry said, I have a lot of questions on foiling with the mink. Is there someone you can text me? I am on Facebook. I think my Facebook is listed in the description here, but also on Instagram. Um, but you can friend request me on Facebook. Um, I also have a Facebook page, Caitlin Annalee Cards. So you can find me either on my personal page, Caitlin Anthony, or Caitlin Annalee Cards on Facebook, or Caitlin Annalee Cards on Instagram. Um, and I can try to help you with foiling. Oh, Barbara said I could go over the circles again with just the outline. I think this kind of looks cool though, because you can like kind of see the outline without it being like too crazy. I'm gonna break up that little pocket. And now I want to do a couple more small ones, I think. And I think I want to do one even smaller. So yeah, now I'm very intrigued to see if the watercolor gem pigment powders react to the same way or if they behave a little differently. And then I definitely want to try one that is mixed because we have that Milky Way powder, pigment powder that's like white basically, and it makes a pearl. And so I want to know what that is going to do. I love that with the like kind of shading more at the bottom. And I just thought when I thought of these kind of not rainbow, but like blended bubble kind of colors. To me, it just screams either fairies or mermaids. So I thought this would be a great time for us to play. We'll do a smaller one with our mermaid stamps one more time because we had that mermaid that we didn't get to use. I think we're going to try a glue cap, right? That's like a little bit smaller. I'm also curious to see what happens if we kind of let one dry for a minute. That's wicking out like crazy. I think I'm mostly fine with that though. Okay, let's add some water. The original one that I saw, I'm pretty sure was primary colors, so that it kind of created that rainbow between. But I was just concerned about how messy that was going to get. And the pink and main ink colors are pretty unique. And I feel like there isn't like a very distinct, like yellow, right? Like we don't have a yellow, a red. So if we were already going to be veering away from that, I figured I would just go more all out and make this my own, inspired by, but not necessarily copying. And I know this is definitely not like a new technique. I know I've seen this before. I've just never like had the guts, I guess, to try. And today felt like the day. Today was the day that I felt up to trying this out. It was so fun. All right. Mm, the too much gene part of me is saying it needs some splatters. There's not enough water here. Get some pink. Some blue. Maybe we'll miss the whole thing and see what happens. If this goes crazy, it's your fault. You didn't say stop. You didn't tell me to knock it off. Oh no, I like that so much. So layout wise, probably not my favorite, but technique wise, definitely a fan. So let's put that to the side and let that dry for a couple minutes. And we will play with some watercolor gems, some water gems. This poor palette has really gone through it. Oh, I need another picture palette. I should have just brought the roll in. I try to be green and use my scrubbing cloths, but sometimes for these things it is just easier to. Oh, I sprayed everything with blue when I did that. Oh no. Our mermaid's gonna have some blue freckles. When I sprayed my palette with water to clean that off, that ink just went everywhere. Okay. All right, let's set those aside for a second. Clean these off. Yeah, Melissa, exactly. I would say with the color choices, you definitely want to make sure you're using colors that are gonna work all together. Um, because like not even just like next to each other, but like keep in mind that there's a good chance that any color you're using is going to touch another color you're using. So that's why I do think the like primary blend is cool because no matter what, you're going to get something pretty. But that is why the colors that I grabbed, I didn't end up using Lakeside, but I went for kind of that cool tone, right? The blue, pink, purple, and teal definitely seemed really safe. So, um, oh, Sherry's a foiling machine over there. Michelle said lipstick container. Oh, that's true. I do have a lipstick container right here. But I think the glue thing worked out pretty good. So Milky Way is the one that I want to play when we combined ink and powder. I kind of want to switch it up for this one. So maybe we do like a pink, an orange, and a yellow. I'm not really like married to a specific color story. I think anything can work with a mermaid. It doesn't have to just be. Maybe we'll do ruby instead of flamingo though. A little bit more of a red. Let's tap down some water first so that when I dip in to my powder, it doesn't just go everywhere like my ink did. And I need a little dry brush. This guy's good. He's like a good little scoopy. And you need the tiniest bit of these. So put our ruby over here. And I learned the hard way in between colors. Do yourself a favor and just go ahead and put the lid back on your jar. Put our citrine up here. And our sunny yellow on the side of our little triangle. And now we can go in and kind of start liquefying those a little bit. I'm kind of okay if there's like little chunks because I'm interested to see if the powder part makes a difference. You know what else we could do too is try putting them on dry with the cap. And then what happens when we add the water. All right, let's go big. It's really watery. I don't know if this is going to work the way I want it to. Nope. All right, we want to make it work. So let's pick up some more orange. That is the one nice thing about using a bigger circle. You can kind of like have a little more control when you go back in. I don't know how we got purple down there. It must have been something left on the. We can't have purple next to yellow. So we'll bring some of our ruby down there too. It's really blue. Okay. Let's use this. Let's start with our citrine. So these are way more subtle, but I think it's just because of my like powder to water ratio. Still so pretty though. If you like a softer kind of pastel-y look, definitely doable. But what happens if we like drop in a little more color from the edges maybe? While everything is wet. I believe the watercolorists call this a wet on wet, when your paper is already wet and you're adding in more wet pigment. Watercolorists, you'll have to tell me if I'm right or not. I've watched so many watercolor videos and just in awe and not participated. Nothing like throwing your hat in the ring live. No pressure. So just kind of adding more pigment to the edges and then some more clean water to the middle. That's really overpowering that ruby, which is interesting because I'm so used to red being the overpowering color all the time in other mediums. So I'm just adding a little more pigment to that same water. And maybe now if we drop it in, I just want it to be able to kind of compete with all that orange and yellow before it dries too much. No, dripped a big old drip. Stay in your line. Yeah, that's looking a little more like what I was envisioning. So pretty. Okay, now for real, I have to know what happens if we put them on dry. Hey, Connie. And Jeanette's here. And Diane. Perfect. All right, how are we going to do this? I guess like a softer brush. I'm going to try the painting it on thing again. I'm just going to tap my powder onto the edge of the cup. This is probably somehow still going to make a huge mess, but because these powders really are deceptively pigmented. Powder red. Now we can go in with our orange. These are the kind of things when people find out I go live in my like my personal life, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do live?" And I'm like, "Oh, just like brushing tiny bowls with glitter powder, hoping it looks like a bubble." It's what the people want to see. Just some wholesome watercolor fun, right? The only drama here is me dropping the whole thing on my dress. Well, the good news is there's definitely still some pigment on the cup. We're just going to go for it. It's definitely colored all the way around. I am going to take an extra piece because what I'm going to do is spray this. No, you know what? We'll just play on this. It's fine. I'm going to spray my paper first. I'm going to kind of guard this bubble. And I'm going to mist this side up. We're going to flip our cup over. And I want to kind of give it a minute to let it activate. Maybe. Underwhelming. That did not do what I expected it to do. So I think the moral of our story is if you want more control and to be able to layer, either use the tiniest drop of your reinkers or use the powders, because obviously those are going to be more forgiving and a little less dramatic. It did jump out of my hand. And if you want something really bold and intense and vibrant, then go with straight reinker. I think that's the lesson that we are learning here today together. All right. But that is still really pretty. But I mean, in comparison, I do like that. I also think it would be different if we swapped out the colors. And I did have to add a lot of water because of my own, uh, you know, not mistakes, but my own choices. I think with a little less water and a little more pigment, this could also be vibrant if you wanted it to be. So last one up, I want to try combining these. I want to see if it's going to make a difference, if we're going to be able to see the shimmer of our Milky Way powder when it's mixed with our reinkers to make these bubbles. And I think this time I'm going to add in some of that teal. And I'm going to put way less reinker. Right, so that's kind of the size I'm working with. So we're going to put some lake view, lakeside. I always do that. Lakeside, keeping in mind where all my colors are going to be blending. So I'm going to put the pink and the green on opposite sides from each other, hoping the teal, but still hoping that they kind of stay in their lanes a little bit. It won't be as bad as red and true green, but it's probably not going to be like the best ever. I'm trying to kind of add my water to the middle, right? So we start getting that movement. And then I'm going to take my Milky Way powder and just kind of like fairy dust, sprinkle that over the whole thing. And I'm not going to worry about mixing it in. I just want to see what happens. We can also dust our paper with it once we have our stuff down. We got a little splatter, but that's all right. You guys know I'm probably going to end up doing splatter anyway. This cousin just does not want to hang out tonight. Hey, Misty. You're good. We're still mid-experimenting. All right, so we're going to dip. And take it into the corner. Oh, that's a good one. I really like that a lot. I'm going to try to do, I guess, like two bigger ones, and then we can do some smaller ones around there. So once we lay our color down, I'm going to kind of work color by color, going in with my water. The pink's kind of taking over. Interesting that my teal doesn't really want to move as much. And the blue kind of disappeared. Very interesting. You can see what I mean, how with the pink and the teal, they're not going to mud the way that green and red would. So I love that. And this guy first. And then kind of with I really want this one to pop that darker blue and purple, since the top one doesn't have as much of that color. So I'm going to really pull that out before I go back into my pinks. Kind of let that one, the purple, and take center stage. The purple kind of took over the blue, but I think that's okay. I'm just dabbing my water off into or onto a scrubby right here. That is so pretty. These would make a really cool planets too. And then that other thing I was thinking is to take like a little of our powder while it's still wet and just kind of like sprinkle it. I'm interested to see like when you salt watercolor and it kind of like pools here and there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm assuming that like the little specks are going to kind of dry different. But I don't know. I don't like whatever that just did. Stripe. All right, so let's try out some smaller ones. This one doesn't have any pink. So I like the them having like the four colors maybe, because then you can really kind of pick and choose which areas have what color once you start getting to smaller circles. So this was the lid of our Magic Anti-Static powder brush. It's so funny how which colors eat each other up as the blending is happening around. Right, our purple is pretty much gone. I can tell I overdid it for sure with my water. So I want to kind of make sure everything can move, but not out of the lines. Give that one like a little bit of an overlap. Oh, it's like I know I brought the whole paper towel thing over here. Oh yeah, Virginia, I have seen people, my kids have tried it. I haven't tried it, but we've all seen, all meaning me and my children, have seen these watercolor artists add like thick, super coarse salt to some of their projects, like big chunky pretzel salt. And it soaks up the water in different areas and creates these really cool like splotches in your watercolor. A lot of people that I've seen use it as like almost to create like a frost effect. So I'm just wondering if the powder in our case would also hold on to that water differently, those pigments. It's really fun. And then I think we need just a couple teeny tiny little guys. You know what else we can do when we're done? We can make a little pearly water blend for our splatter too, and that'll create some just like nice pearlescent over the whole thing. So going in with our teeny tiniest, this is the cap off my glue. I want another one that has a little more blue in it. Maybe there. Oh, that's a lot of blue. Oh, that's a lot of blue. Whatever. If we don't love it, that'll just be where the mermaid goes, right? Clean up this edge a little bit. All right. In an ideal situation, I would definitely be like drying this in between as well, just so we're on the same page. These are getting very muddy liquidy. All right, I think those will be my last two official bubbles. Right, you can already see the difference for like where this was already a little more dried down. How like this one's not wicking as much, not moving as much. Maybe wicking isn't the right term. Let some of that extra water dry off my brush a little bit. But that's what I love, where you can see that one bubble through the other. That's like the effect I was hoping for. So yeah, I think if we used a drying, like a heat gun, or we're able to take a little bit of a longer break in between, that they would definitely all have a little bit more of that effect. Here we go. So pretty. Let's protect that. We have to go in and do some more splatters. Because of course I do. Let's drape under and behind this so I don't just splatter my whole desk. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of pick and choose sides of all of this soup, this color soup we have going on here. Let's get some pinky purple soup. Blue. still trying to kind of keep this diagonal shape. Oh, bye, Misty. Oh, you're not Misty, you're Mary. Bye, Mary. I hope you have a good night. Yes, definitely check back in tomorrow and see how this crazy mess turned out. I am going to blot this up a little bit because I do still want everything to be kind of that translucent. Go. And then the last thing I definitely want to do is take, I think, just clean water, like clear water, and our Milky Way powder and see if we can make a little pearly mixture. That's like way too much. Molly would cry if she saw how much I just put on. Right, Donna? I think it is going to be really good for a mermaid. Oh my gosh, squeezing this out, so much just flew into the air. She is definitely pearlescent. So we're going to add some pearly shimmer all over. And this I'm less worried about getting in that diagonal. This one can kind of go all over. So I'm not going to blot those little dots, the little pearls you can kind of see. I want those to dry down on their own a little bit. So we're going to set that to the side to dry, and we can go back to finish our mermaid with her blue freckles. And then we will assemble this somehow. I didn't really think that far out. Dean said, I can watch you do this all day. I could do this for a while. I'm not gonna lie, this was way more fun. I was starting to kind of psych myself out about it. Um, but even the like little hiccups, I think were fun. Blue cap back on, anti-static brush cap back on. See, with the pink there, I don't lose the focus of the camera. It's really just all the white space that throws off. All right, all of our brushes go back to their brush home. I will tell you the Pink and Main watercolor brushes are seriously a game changer. Everyone that got to play with them at Create with us, at the Create event, with us, said that they were different than any of the other like watercolor brushes like that they had used. The size of them is really nice. They're easy to hold and they don't flood your work. Like you don't have to squeeze them crazy to get the water out, but it doesn't also just like come out so fast that now everything that you're working on is a hot mess, which at least for me has definitely been an issue before. So, I mean, I don't know why we zoomed this out, but you can see she's a little freckly, but I think she'll be fine. I think we can still make her work. Let's see if we can tilt you up a little so my hand's not completely in the way. Let's give her some nice tan deep skin. We'll stick with the teens. We'll start with E15. I want to, her skin's not going to be super dark, but she's going to have a good glow. And this is on, I stamped her out on my Copic Express It paper. This marker needs love. Wow. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. I might have to go in and do like a, that's really bad. I can't even finish. That's how bad that marker is. We'll go to 17. We'll just make it work. E17. She can have a little mermaid cleavage and her little mermaid torso. Then we're still going to jump down to E13. Right, Deanne, they can be any color that you want because no one can ever tell you you're wrong. You have no proof that you are not correct. All right. And then 13, or sorry, 11 is going to be our lightest shade, keeping that through the top of the ears, the center of the face, outer portions of her arms, where the sun would naturally like brighten her up a little bit. There you go. I think she needs some like um, like color schemey for everything. Look how crazy that's drying. And like this blueberry. Definitely next time I would dry in between layers. Also, I don't know if you guys can see that like rogue yellow. That must have been like a loose pigment powder little bit somewhere. Um, Barbara said her E23 always dries out. You should check to see if you have a crack in your lid too. Copic's been having some big issues. Oh, is it blurry again? So, okay, hopefully that helps. Let's pull out our new fun Olo. Except that they're so short because we don't have that connector piece. Also, I'm wondering if the connector piece came and I didn't realize what it was and I threw it out. That's definitely something I would do. That's a very me thing to do. Come on, man. So we'll go V2.8 along kind of the butt part of her tail and this back part here. The blend that I liked from last time was V17 as our middle shade. Try that one more time. So V17. Sorry guys, this one's definitely going on a little longer than normal. But we just had to experiment. It wasn't even an option. I'm gonna fully overlap that V17 with my V2.6 Olo because it's got so much more of a pinky base where the 17 is a little more on the blue side. I want to make sure that I'm getting that nice blend. I'm choosing to kind of emphasize her shape. You definitely don't have to. This is for like a younger person, maybe. Maybe she doesn't need little boobies. So that for that lighter combo, I use that same V2.6. I'm going to do it for her little thin parts too. And then my lighter shade was a V04, and that makes a really pretty blend. Like that. I think she needs maybe blue hair and a pink crown, or maybe teal, like a tealy blue hair. Yeah, Shelly said all of her Copics have cracked lids. Yeah, that's like my number one complaint. Like I don't mind investing in the Copics, and I think the ones, if you get good ones, they're great. But the number of cracked lids is just becoming such an issue. And at this point, like they have to know. But I'm also not going to completely get rid of all the ones that I have that are fine. So I feel kind of stuck. So I'm kind of filling in the artist drawn lines, and then I'm also going in and kind of making like little C shapes to kind of make my own curls and texture, and just kind of breaking up this whole thing so it doesn't look like one solid mass of hair. Also keeping this part under her head and around her neck a little bit darker. That was my BG 35. I'm going to go in with BG 23. Start pulling that out. And kind of just flick in color here and there. Around the crown. And then I'm going to go in with BG 10, which is super pale, but it'll just make sure that there's no like true white spots kind of sticking out. I'm just literally kind of scrubbing over that whole thing. Okay, and then the last thing I want is a pink crown. So let's go RV17. And I think we're just going to need one color for this. There's not a lot of crown there. Yep. All right, let's get her cut out. Oh, Jeanette has all the new Olo colors on the way. Love that. Yes, Barbara, I would say that the Olos and the Copics definitely blend well together. So if you have some Copics already and you want to, so you're slowly transitioning to something else, or you're like me and you think you have some gaps in your color collection that you would like to fill, I have 100% personally, not necessarily that that's what either brand wants you to think, but I will be using my Olos and Copics interchangeably together. Okay. Now we have our little mermaid. We have these sentiments have guides, but I think I might risk, I don't know, I could be making a really big mistake in wanting to um, stamp directly onto my paper because it could still be wet, but I never sprayed it. I want to see if I can show you. You can definitely see, there we go, a little bit there. The sparkle, that pearlescent glow from those drops definitely worked. It might not be like the most intense thing ever, but in person, you can definitely see the shine. And I just think that's so cool. All right, so in my head, she kind of goes like there, maybe like a little there to cover. To me, that just looks like a blueberry. And that's not necessarily the vibe. So to me, I kind of want to put the sentiment down here. I just want to use that Stay Sparkly again. I should probably use the Make Waves because I think I put that either in the description or the title, but I think Stay Sparkly is the move I want to make. And I think I do want it to be in like navy instead of black. And we are going to trim this down a little bit. We're also going to mat it. And we're also going to add sequins, confetti sequins, because you know I have to. We have barbershop. We have our barbershop pink. Stay Sparkly, one and done. That was pretty good for watercolor paper. If you guys don't know, watercolor paper definitely has a little more of a texture to it. And so sometimes you've got to stamp more than once to get a nice image impression. That one went really good. The odds are turning in my favor. All right, so we have that. Let's trim it down. Miss Judy B said she uses either Spectrum Noir Tri Blends or I never know how to pronounce that. Oahu's? Oahu's? Both of those don't sound correct. So we went a full half-inch from each side. You know what I want? I want to put this on navy, but I don't have navy. I do have dress shop though. Let's trim down a piece of dress shop. For in a portrait. Right on my own toe. With my wheelie chair. That looks pretty good to me. Look at that nice mat. Lovely. You know, she's got to go with some foam tape. Oh, my scissors. My scissors are in my trunk. That's not a good place for them to be. Like the trunk of my car. We have a peony bush, and I wanted to cut some to take to work with me today. And the only scissors I could find in my whole house were my scissors from my desk. And so they went to work. And of course, I didn't bring them back in the house. All right, last things we got to add. Gotta add. I think because we already have the pink frame that I don't know if I want pink. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I do. We're gonna skip navy, I think. We're gonna go pink, purple, and teal. So this is poppin' pink, lilac, and seafoam confettis. Where's my literally right in front of my face. I'm starting to get like too rushy. Sorry, I just know this is taking so long. And I still want to do our little giveaway. Uh-oh, what is happening? It's trying to track my hand. So we'll do 3 on the top and then 3 little guys on the bottom. There we go. Well, I hope, if nothing else, this inspired you to get creative with some products you might already have around the house. Don't be afraid to use your glue caps as art tools. All right, so that is our completed watercolor bubbles mermaid card. Love her. And let's see. I'm pulling up our list now. I need, there we go. I need for you guys to give me 3 numbers between 1 and 55. And the first 3 numbers that come in, those are the 3 people that are, those responses are the 3 winners tonight. And then I promise for Thursday, I'll do like a wheel spin and I will pre-pick our people. Okay. So give me 3 numbers. Oh, they're already in there. So we got 39, 44. Oh God. Sharon. Oh, Shelly. Oh my gosh. You guys are so fast. So Miss Judy B said 16. Shelly said 44. And then Sharon said 39. Those are my first 3. So let's see. I don't know. This is kind of fun. So questions. We said get this wrong. Individually. That's fine. So 16. 16 is Teresa C. Teresa, I will be emailing you. And then we said 44. That is Carrie C. I will email you this week, and you guys will have a week to email me back and say that you do, in fact, still want this and that I'm good to mail it to you. And then the last one is 39. And if somebody either says no or doesn't answer, we'll just add that one back in our kit. So 39 is Sarah R. Perfect. So you guys are all going to get, you 3 are going to get a little packet. Oh, I'm going to put them in an envelope. For anybody who missed it before, that form is still available. I'll put it back in the comments. I forgot to put it in the description today, but I'll leave it in a pinned comment. You get foils and foilables, toner sheets, sequins, cut ups, all kinds of little goodies, and a card base mailed to you in the mail. So I will be picking 3 people every live for the next at least month. Um, and we'll just keep chipping away. So, um, yeah, 16 first. Oh, yeah, good. We got you. Um, Oh, I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. The numbers you guys picked coordinated to response numbers in the form, like the form that was filled out by you guys. So I had like 1 through 55 forms. So you guys picking numbers, those were the numbers from the submissions. But I really have a sneaking suspicion. Right now, there's 55 people that have entered in, and at this rate, I might be able to send out close to that many. So thank you guys so much. I will have that form open for giveaways for a while. So if you're watching this and you haven't seen it before, check out the comments and go ahead and enter yourself in. We'll pick 3 new winners every live, and I will see you guys back here on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for your patience with me. I hope that this was super fun for you guys watching me make a mess over here. And I will see you guys back here on Thursday. Until then, happy crafting.